Good morning.
Morning.
There we go. That's a Suffolk welcome. I want to say thank you. The East Farmingdale Firehouse has graciously opened their doors again to us. I did promise you money on the table. There is money on the table. We want you to take that money home and we want it to multiply. I just want to give you a little bit of a year in review. What have we done in 2024? Well, we've been busy. We've been remodeling, reorganizing, and reconnecting with you and your chamber businesses. We expanded our board by 6 feet, right? I'm in real estate, that's a term that we use. So that's those 6 feet, we created new positions and new people coming on board. So I'm going to ask, once I announce you to stand, Silvana Alosio from the Patchogue Chamber. Where are you, Silvana? Thank you so much. Liz O'Shaughnessy from Riverhead. Riverhead's in the house. Now, David Kennedy moved on. We brought in one of Long Island's best marketing and management teams, Standard Advisors. It's led by Anthony Mineta. We also have working with us an executive in that organization, Jason Bove. A couple things, we're still transitioning from our transition with Gina, so we're very excited to move on to bigger things as well. We want to thank her again for her leadership in the last 10 years. I want to thank our sponsors that have been with us, and the new sponsors, AT&T, National Grid, PSEG, Long Island. We're very excited. The lights are kept on as well, and the energy is flowing in the room. Long Island Main Street Alliance, Eric Alexander, Suffolk County OTB, Jake's 58, Diverse Marketing, who does our constant contact. Is she here in this room? Sue here? So Sue Glenn is here. Standard Advisors, of course, I mentioned Catholic Health, Staples, Harras, Bloom & Arches, and of course, our treasurer is Long Island's payroll expert. So let's thank our sponsors and continue that support. Okay. We're creating subcommittees. We're going to connect with our other ground game business partners like the Latino, African American, Asian Chamber of Commerce, LBGTQ, the Peruvian Chamber as well, just to mention a couple, right? We established the Chamber Executive and Conflicts of Interest policy, so all the board members have signed that. We also have a podcast. We're working on so much more. We want to continue, and we want to thank you for joining us. As Adrian Esposito says, we want to thank you for waking up, speaking up, and showing up. We're going to just do a quick treasurer's report. We have our total assets of $19,894.95. That's $19,894.95.
To the extent that you have any issues chamber-wise that you have legal concerns about, feel free to contact me. My law firm is Harras, Bloom & Archer. Since we're kind of counsel, we do it pro bono, and to the extent that we can help you, we'd like to come.
We were up in Albany. Our agenda was focused on local marketing dollars to make it to local chambers. Seems to be the marketing dollars get lost. They don't make it down to the local community. That's real problem A. Problem B is, there's still a number of small business items on the agenda that aren't kind of breaking through in Albany, and certainly Long Island doesn't always break through. We got a great reception overall. We're pushing for different dollars in housing, bus service, transportation, traffic calming, kind of trying to get New York State DOT to fix their dangerous roads, and also support a Long Island Greenway, which is actually up for federal cuts. So we get, federal cuts are on everybody's mind. So we have our Complete Streets Summit on April 8th. There's a flyer in the back. We're going to focus, we're working with Suffolk County on what they're doing fantastically to fix their roads. We're still going to push DOT on their roads. June 13th is the Smart Growth Awards. December 6th is our summit. Just get on my Main Street News show. Real people in real communities, get in our Main Street newsletter that goes out to 25,000 people free. Our downtown, so let's get to downtown revitalization. We just released our calendar to kind of start the quarter, this next quarter. There's over 400 events at any time across Long Island that are happening in our downtowns and communities, and that's just what we're tracking, right? So we need your events to be able to get it on the calendar. We will continue to do our small business outreach. I see Ms. Solina Silva over there. We were funded by a grant by National Grid, which was led an outreach team with many of the chambers in this room, and $111 million of $800 million statewide grant made it to Long Island businesses. And that's because we did the outreach. We actually got ahead of the curve. We weren't trying to figure out what the grant was and then it's over. We were at the ground floor and we got it done. As far as downtown redevelopments, there are 45 downtowns across Long Island that are still doing housing and more density in their communities, and we understand there's a backlash right now to housing. It's a problem, just to mandate and overrule local zoning. That stuff is largely dead, though you still hear about it a lot because there's still people in the city that are pushing this stuff on Long Island. It's not the governor's office. I see Rob Clark and Stevens Martinez. They're doing a great job pushing for housing from an incentive-based place, and we agree with that. But we are seeing a lot of conflict in communities over housing, and it's largely because people don't want to deal with this regionally. They want to deal with it hyper-local, plan local. So with that, we can, and you can, be involved in our Plan Locally campaign. See me about that. We get you involved in local community meetings. We want real people in real communities making these decisions. We've got this advisory board that Bob has wanted us to pull together, and we've got a nice cross-section of folks. We mentioned already Lenore Pabrocki's with us. We got Barbara Ransom is with us, and she's fantastic. Liz O'Shaughnessy. We got Ken Patrick Johnson. Where's Ken? Where'd he go? There he is, back there, Ken Patrick Johnson. M.T. Banks going to be joining us. We got David Kennedy's joining us. Rick Mariti. Where's Rick?
He just walked in.
Oh my God, hey Rick! You can't miss Rick, right? So we got Rick. We got. I think Gail Umberta was going to join us for that. Yes, Gail Umberta. And who do we miss? Dave Gustin. Dave Gustin's joining.
So as he mentioned, inside your packet you will find a courtesy flyer with 3 QR codes that will give you access to our 3 programs that we offer grant and incentives for. Please take a look. And we do invite you to come out and join us. On April 15th, we'll be presenting Business First with a panel of our subject matter experts, giving you insight about our products and services that we provide to our local, small, medium businesses, because we put business first. Thank you.
One of the things that we want to do, and enhance the access and engagement, spotlight local chambers, make sure that all the good work that you're doing to support small business, which truly is, it might sound like a cliche, but small business really is the backbone of our local economy. It creates the most jobs, it creates economic activity.
Long Island State Parks, last year was our 2nd busiest year ever with 30 million visitors. We do have a good capital budget this year, and again, thanks to the governor, we have a $100 million renovation of the East Bathhouse underway at Joan Beach State Park, and we have about a $40 million budget in addition to that to take care of our infrastructure problems, and we started to address the infrastructure, our water, our sewer, and some of the electrical issues, some of the other issues that we have within state parks. And then that's the other thing that we've done. We have a State Parks Infrastructure Fund, and that's the revenue collected from the vehicle use fees. That some of that is set aside, and we started bathroom renovations, which just facelifts, but that has been great. And I can't finish up without Four Leaf Air Show, Jones Beach. Then we have the Ironman competition we started a couple of years ago. That is a huge economic impact. And then we have the Ryder Cup coming up in September. It has a huge economic impact, and hopefully most of the downtowns in the area will receive an economic impact.
Hi, how are you all? Welcome and good morning. I just want to say, number one, thank you to Robert Fonti as well as Major Chuck Kilbride. It was a Starbucks where we saw our vision come true for what we call our dreamers, where I was with my son and we had the boxes side by side. And I reached out to them and they 100% said peanut butter and jelly, pajamas and toys, and how can I help? And from there on forward, we continued becoming a nonprofit organization, growing tremendously to our 15th year, this year, 2025.
We're going to be marrying the toys, Major Kilbride, and Toys for Tots, with the pajamas, but we're also going to be doing books.
We're hoping to tell your stories. We are here to tell people how to get to you and your business. And discoverlongisland.com is the number one way to do that. I'm excited to tell you that after a really great meeting with Eric Alexander and the Downtown Revitalization Committee, we understand that our job is to get people to you, the chambers, and your local events. So We created a new hyper-local page on discoverlongisland.com, local point of view. Again, thanks to our great discussions. Please go on there and make sure, and if you have an event or something you want us to know about, let us know, and we are trying every way we can to make sure that we're supporting you and sharing your information. We have launched a brand new Ryder Cup app that we will be promoting to all of the people coming from across the globe that will be here. You can then use your phone and it just tells you things near you. So please make sure if you're on discoverlongisland.com, you will be on that app and you will be accessible and reachable by all of those people that are coming.
First of all, collectively, we have provided funding to over 300 projects supporting revitalization efforts in communities across Suffolk County over the previous 22 rounds. This year, we have a total of $550,000 available for businesses and organizations to promote downtown revitalization in Suffolk County. Key deadlines are important. It's Friday, May 16th is the deadline for the grant application. Those who are eligible for these grants include chambers of commerce, civic associations, beautification societies, business improvement districts, historical societies, local development corporations, etc. All projects must have a long-term capital improvement project. Examples include curb cuts, roadway, pedestrian walkways, street lightings, etc.
What I would like to encourage all of you to do is to take this message back to all of your chambers and inform them of the 3 opportunities that we offer to them. First and foremost, Main Street revitalization, where we help businesses who are doing major renovations offset their costs. Second, we have our vacant space revival program, and this is where we provide an offset to your electric bill if you are renovating a vacant space on your main street. And most important, and one of our fan favorites, is the Community Thrive program. And as I look around to all the chamber presidents, each of you should know this program very well because we are giving a $10,000 grant to each of the chambers on Long Island to support community projects that will boost the economic stream on our main streets. And number 2 I'd like to share with you, we have Business First Advocates. Now, who are they? Right now, I have my 2 Suffolk County BFAs present, Tim Tansey and Jeff Stern, and they are here to answer your questions regarding what are the products and services that are offered by PSCG Long Island. How can we help? I have speakers who will come out to each of your meetings, not just this one, but each of your local meetings. My team is knowledgeable and prepared to come out on site and give personalized presentations to all of your chambers so that all of your businesses know all of these details that I have just shared. And I'm asking all of you to RSVP and join us on April 15th and hear more about our Business First products and services that we offer again to small to medium businesses. Because at PSCG Long Island, we put business first.
Here at National Grid, we're really here to help. We have a tremendous amount of community and economic development programs across Long Island and New York City. We also have team members who you can tap into. We could bring them out to any of your chambers, bring them into your community, help volunteer as well. Not only do we focus on economic development, we're trying to get involved in the community and make a difference. So whether that's Earth Day, our week of service, our season of giving, we have a tremendous amount of dedicated volunteers, employee volunteers, who want to give back and really make a difference. So in addition to PSEG's programs, we have similar programs. One of my favorite programs is the Cinderella program, where if you have a vacant building on Main Street for more than a year, contact us, let us know about it. If you have a new tenant coming in, we may be able to provide significant economic development grants for their development. So that could range anywhere from $25,000 upwards of $150,000. Really depends on the project, the size, and the scope. But we live here, we work here, we know we have to give back and make a difference in the communities we serve, and I'm really excited to work with each and every one of you in the years ahead. Thank you.
It's really an honor to have this conversation with all of you about the governor's vision for 2025 and what's been reflected in the budgetary realities. The Office of General Services is a backbone agency. So our agency does much of the support work on behalf of other agencies. If you want to learn about our real estate transactions, we oversee about 20 million square feet of real and improved property statewide. We have 12 million leases. So whenever an agency needs to execute a lease, it goes through our agency. We also oversee about 1,500 centralized contracts. So goods, services, technology, commodities. If you need to do procurement with the state, oftentimes you are starting with our agency. But if you're interested in being a part of the state contracting process, OGS is a very good place to start. We also do a significant amount of shared services activity, financial transactions on behalf of the state, human resource transactions, time and attendance, and our design and construction activities include all of the vertical construction within the state. The governor has put in a significant amount of infrastructure funding across the state. That means that we are designing the projects that work all will be happening, and we have been moving very quickly on the construction backlogs that are needed within the state. We also work with many local community organizations because we oversee many of the food initiatives that happen statewide. That includes the regional food banks. We have an OGS food distribution program, which helps with the USDA food distribution. The governor's blueprint for this year and throughout the last 3.5 years of her tenure have been focused on making sure that New York is a prosperous place to be. That focuses on getting money back into the pockets of the people that live right here in our state, ensuring that New Yorkers are safe, and ensuring that the future of New York is a place where all of our families can thrive. This year, she is focused on ensuring that we are continuing to address the housing crisis and the housing shortage right here in New York State. She wants to increase affordability for homeowners and allow them to have and take advantage of home ownership opportunities, strengthening the state's support to unlock local housing development, and taking action in order to secure and protect housing affordability. She's also prioritized ensuring that New York is a safer place to be. That includes, over the last 3 years, amending bail reform, addressing gun violence, and also expanding the New York State Police, some of the largest classes we've had in years. This year, Governor Hochul is also proposing $1 billion for climate initiatives. That's a single largest climate investment in New York State history. And in terms of tax relief, Governor recognizes that there has been rapidly rising inflation within the state and certainly within our nation. Now, this year, the executive budget includes the slashing of middle-class taxes by up to 5%. This benefits 8.3 million New Yorkers. Governor Hochul's second prong of her affordability agenda includes her proposal for the first ever inflation tax rebate. And then finally, the governor's budget also includes a major expansion of the Empire State Child Tax Credit. Now, when we talk about affordability, especially in New York State, we cannot overlook the critical issue of childcare. So the governor, her focus has been to make sure that we're removing the barriers for parents to re-enter the workforce if they so desire, especially working families that rely on childcare in order to stay employed. So the first item in that is making sure that there is great and safe childcare available across the state. The governor is also proposing the creation of a substitute pool. Vetted, trusted professionals who can step in when necessary to keep a provider open. Lastly, when thinking about long-term solutions, the governor is going to be convening the New York Coalition for Childcare. Now, combined, these 3 proposals will ensure that families can trust their childcare providers, know that their kids are in good hands, while the parents can focus on their careers and bring more talented individuals back into the workforce. The governor has a historic initiative that she's announced, which is going to ensure that every single one of the 2.7 million students in New York State can receive free breakfast and free lunch in schools. Now, the second part of this is going to go hand in hand with those of you who are familiar with Summer EBT. And that's a program that provides benefits for food to families when they are home. Now, thanks to Governor Hochul's leadership, the state minimum wage did increase in the beginning of 2025. It will rise again in 2026, and beginning in 2027, it will be indexed to inflation. We know that when we up the pay for some of the lowest paid New Yorkers, that allows that purchasing power to go right back into the local economy. Now, over the last few years, the governor has been very focused on from a development perspective, and that includes her action to try to transform 3,000 acres of underutilized land into shovel-ready sites, positioning the state for growth. She's proposing $100 million for the continuation of Fast New York, which is a focused attraction of shovel-ready tracks. She is funding a program called Power Up, very similar, which will allow for the proactive development of electric capacity over about $100 million over 3 years, $300 million set aside that allow for the proactive development of power sites which will help for many of our industries. The Regional Economic Development Councils, which I know many of you are familiar with, they funded over 10,000 community-led projects. 75% of those awards have gone to small businesses. And New York State's Small Business Credit Initiative is deploying about $500 million in federal funding to help entrepreneurs access capital and expand their operations. She's also focused on items and different programs that will help with the workforce. Help to expand, help to allow for new opportunities. This includes free community college degrees for adults that want to transition into jobs in the fields like nursing, technology, and engineering, where there are challenges in terms of recruitment and having an accessible workforce. She's also enhancing the performance-based Excelsior Job Tax Credit with a new tier for semiconductor companies. And she's also continuing important economic development programs like Market New York, tourism promotions, and the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which I heard you were talking a lot about your downtown. She is continuing to fund that work. Now, thanks to Governor Hochul's historic investments, New York has kickstarted economic growth. So I want to run through a couple of the programs that are particularly down here. $200 million have been allocated for the Downtown Revitalization Initiatives. $90 million have been set aside for Empire AI. $400 million has been set aside for the New York Works Initiative. $15 million have been set aside for Market New York to support tourism and marketing plans and projects that best reflect and demonstrate regional collaboration and promote regional attractions. $47 million have been set aside to expand and support efforts that promote New York as a tourism destination. $43 million have been set aside to support ongoing economic development initiatives, which includes New York's Economic Development Fund, the Minority and Women-Owned Business Development and Lending Program, and the Urban Community Development Program, and the Entrepreneurial Assistance Program. And the governor is very focused on ensuring that growth is happening across the state, and Long Island is by no means an exception. And so she has been proposing to build upon all of this work that she's been doing across the Long Island region for some of our 5 centers for advanced technology and centers of excellence. These are the ones that serve as research and innovation hubs for the state. Now, under Article 15A, MWB's participation is required for contracts that have a value greater than $25,000 for commodities, services, and technology, or $100,000 for construction services. So a little bit about state contracting. Centralized contracts, I mentioned this a little bit before. For our state, we have 1,500 centralized contracts that exist. This could be anything from a Dell computer or any computer, out to road salts, to goods and services, cleaning supplies. All of that happens through state contracting, particularly our centralized contracts. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the state process, the governor lays out her vision for the state in the State of the State, which happened in early January. It's followed soon thereafter with her budget address, which includes the detailed specifications around how she will implement that vision. Soonly thereafter, probably a couple of weeks, it actually just happened about 2 weeks ago, the legislature proposes their one House bills. And somewhere in between where the governor is, she gets a lot of what she wants, what legislature provides, we come up with that finalized budget, which begins on April 1st. Please know, the governor is very focused on this state. And so what you say in these meetings or what you share back, we will be bringing back to the administration. It's helpful for us to make sure that we have a pulse on what's happening, what's across the state.
We are having a free event with a free box lunch, and it is really to bring awareness of the needs of our veteran community. The suicide rate is continuing to grow, the homelessness is continuing to increase. So please come to our conference. It is a free event. Please share it on social media. We wanted to show them that they are not alone, that our community at large does care about them, and that is the purpose of the conference.
We're going to carry on with the advisory board. We're going to have a meeting in June, right? And we please get me and Bob your calendar items, right? So we can get the calendar together, get stuff for our newsletter, get on our podcasts, right? And share with us what you're doing in your community.